many of us start business because we're trying to escape, whether it's a job or financial situation. Like, we're under pressure, like many of financially in our culture. So like, we see business as a way out. But I actually feel like if you're in a job, like with these kind of tools, you can be a bit more experimental. And there was a report that I think the British Bank did, which it found that most black businesses start from a hobby, one, or they want to do something that is purposeful, that helps their community. And that's what I love about our people. Most of us are trying to help our community. Yeah. But sometimes you might need to build that $1 billion business that's in an industry that no one in our community is, and then that money you can then bring back. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you don't have to do it. So one of the key things about taking luck out of the equation is almost assume that it sounds counterintuitive that your business is not gonna, your idea is wrong, and almost you have to validate. You know how they do in science? You have an hypothesis, and you almost have to prove. You're almost trying to prove it wrong, but because you can't prove it wrong, then it's almost true. So that's the approach that we pretty much take.
Yo, people, welcome back to the Bread and Butter podcast. You're here with myself, Tayo,
and myself, Eman,
and we are in the building with one of our. We got a family in the building. One of our good friends in this space, this business space. Somebody that it's a blessing to hear from, and works behind the scenes, but the gravity of the movements are sensational. You know what I'm trying to say?
Crazy.
We got Mas from Translate Culture in the building. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was a really nice intro, bro.
No, big up Mas. Mas is probably one of the most genuine, nicest people in this industry, and obviously, especially when you're making the level of money that we're making, the revenue, like it can change you. But Mas and his lovely wife Natalie are the sweetest couple, and they're just the nicest people, and it's just a blessing. I'll never forget when I met Natalie. She's like, "I watch your content. Can I take a picture?" I was thinking, what? I love your husband. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, they're just the sweetest, just amazing. And you deserve all the success because, one thing that you remind me is that good things happen to good people. Because sometimes we think in this world that it's only the most scrupulous, only the most selfish people that win. But actually, you are a living example that actually you can be a good person, you can be a family man, and you can win. And so, like, God continue to bless you and your family, man.
I appreciate that. And likewise, I think the same goes for you two as well. So appreciate getting that from you guys.
I want to make sure there's enough context for our audience. So I'm going to get straight into it. We always ask people what their bread and butter is. So let people know what your bread and butter is, because we don't want to start talking about it. Don't know exactly what it is you do.
I love it. So my name is Masibu Manima. I run a company called Translate Culture and another company called Direct Culture. So Translate Culture is a digital marketing agency. Predominantly, initially, when we started working with black consumer brands. So we run ads and just provide digital marketing for a number of consumer brands, many of which I'm sure some of your listeners would know.
Name some of them.
Plant Made. We're now working with Wingstop, which is super cool. Who else? Ava Estelle. But prior to that, I co-founded Mixtape Madness, so that's how I kind of got into digital marketing, but we can get into that later. And then Direct to Culture is an event that I started in 2022 because we were spending so much money on ads trying to grow these black businesses, and I was like, this doesn't feel sustainable. And I was like, surely there must be a better way to reach the same black audience that we're paying Mark Zuckerberg to reach. And I was like, so what podcast do I listen to? What kind of content am I consuming? And I just identified, I thought podcasting was the channel that, especially black-owned media, could be a channel where we can give them money to reach the same audience. Same way my missus said she listens to you. Like, she's the key decision maker when it comes to spending money in my house. So if you're trying to reach my wife, it'd probably be more efficient to sponsor this podcast. You know what I'm saying? So that was the idea behind it. So we started Direct Culture to connect, I guess, podcasts and Alpha creators in our community with those consumer brands so they can spend their money more efficiently. And it was meant to be one event, but it went so well. And then Lloyd sponsored it and so forth. And then, it kind of took off from there. So that's my bread and butter, Direct Culture and Translate Culture.
Amazing. And one thing I'll just add to that as well, that like you're very well respected in this space by us. And do you know what it is? It's beautiful to have an expert that can complement your business within our community. I'll say that straight. Like it's a blessing to be able to have it. That like you're delivering industry beating, not our community beating results, industry beating results. Like, and it's a real blessing to have that. And one thing that Eman and I said, because we was both at one of the director culture events, innit? And one thing that we said, I think director culture, I think, what time does it start? Like 11 or 12 or something like that?
Yeah, start at 11, yeah.
Bro, we was like, wow, look at all the entrepreneurs in the building on a weekday.
On a weekday.
I said, this is mad to me.
Left their business to come and sit down and learn and network. It was fantastic.
This is mad to me. It was a fantastic day.
And just so people can understand the concept, like what Tayo was trying to say is that, like, Mas is like, instead of us, like, from an investing point of view, instead of you going to Vanguard, you're going to use someone like Mas. Do you understand? It's like you're getting industry expertise. You're getting the same results you would get if you paid like the biggest marketing companies.
Yeah.
But you got someone from the ends, someone that understands your brand, someone that understands your community, and someone that is trying to make it as affordable as possible. That's one thing I love about you, is that the reality is that you know that you are underpricing yourself. Like, you know that actually for what you do and the results you get, you should be charging a lot more. But you purposely bring it down so you can work. Do you like? I don't think people understand. This is why you're so well respected, is because that a lot of people would, in your position, and rightly so, like, I know my worth. I'm gonna charge my worth. But the problem with that is the only people that can afford your worth don't look like the community you want to work with. And so you've perfectly said, you know what? Actually, I want to help my community. And so I will take less in order to help my community. And as my community start to make more, then I can up my price. Like, how does that make you feel? And did you feel like, in the beginning, did it feel like it was sustainable? Because a lot of people might feel like, actually, I want to do more with my people, but the money's with, especially if you're here in the UK, the money's with other communities.
Exactly. Yeah, no, thanks for highlighting that. So yeah, when I started, probably be good to give a bit of background. Sure, so, how I actually started Translate Culture was off the back of, so my wife Natalie used to have a Etsy store. She was a psychologist, but on the side, you know, it's just something to keep a hobby, whatever. She sells some African print stuff on Etsy. And I then just was helping her out. I started blogging about it, sharing it within the community. Fortunately for me, the Evening Standard picked it up as somebody who used their skills from work to grow their business. And then loads of people in the community started reaching out. So I started a WhatsApp group. Very similar story to you guys. Like, there's a lot of us that have started through WhatsApp groups, so you're already giving value. And off the back of that, as I was in my job, people were like, oh, can you do ads for me? I was like, yeah, how much? I was like, £2. Like, just because I've got a job in it, it's not a risk. Then it got to like middle of 2019 and I was like, I'm making half of my salary, but I've got bare clients. Obviously, those £2 add up. When I was bare, man, I was managing. I was like, well, what if I went full time with it? Like, and just gave it a shot. If it didn't work, I can always go back to my job. So 2019, end of 2019, interestingly, you'd love this. I waited till I got my mortgage before I left.
Smart.
Wait till I go, because it's going to be hard to get a mortgage when you're self-employed. So anyway, we did that. And then 2019, started working with a few brands. 2020, obviously, lockdown happened. My wife actually left her job in January, so she took the leap as well. Then lockdown happened in March. Literally the day that Boris shut down the country, I lost half my clients because people weren't, like, nobody was sure what was about to happen. You know what I'm trying to say? So people were just panicking. But it was a silver lining because obviously everybody was locked up, everybody was buying online, and I was focused on e-commerce. Obviously, a lot of the black hair shops closed. We were working with a lot of black hair brands, so we just scaled a lot of those brands just to loads of, to massive revenue. Obviously, I kept my fees the same because I was like, my view was kind of like, I always have this saying that most of life's bills are monthly. As long as I can pay my monthly bills, right, that's all that mattered at that time. And that was the what I was testing for the first 12 months. But what happened is, as those businesses started to grow, even those founders themselves was like, actually, you know what? We should discuss your fees. And I always, big shout out to Yao. Like, Yao from Ava Estelle, one day just came and said, bro, like, you're doing so much for the business. Like, we should be paying you way more. So I was just trying to build at the end of the day. But what I realized, for me, it was like, I saw the vision of like, we spend so much money, but we don't own the brands. And my long-term thinking was like, if we can all get to a point where we can afford my services, which Yao did, and then from that moment, I then increased my fees and so forth. So yeah, I always, and I'm stuck. We can be flexible, you know what I'm trying to say, especially if we believe in a particular brand and we believe that long term. But just a quick punchline, we did a friends and family round last year, and one of my clients invested in Translate Culture because they were liquid enough, because we've helped them grow. And you know how hard it is to raise a friends and family around. So that's like a true testimony in the sense that we've helped them make enough money, and now we're trying to grow. They then have invested a substantial amount of money into our business. So it's paid off in that sense.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that it's important for people to kind of like understand the value. And do you think there's a gap there? Do you feel like, I know you're big on the education piece, innit? So I think
I'll be asking questions. You already be knowing the answer. You already be knowing the answer. Do you think there's a gap? Bro, we know, bro.
All right, talk to me about your experiences with that then, is what I'm saying. Because, okay, I'll talk about my experiences. Sometimes, especially with my community, I've found that I've had plenty of pleasant experiences in it. But sometimes, just in general, not only my community actually, sometimes it's hard for people to understand the value. And 100%. That's why, and they only focus on price.
Yes.
And that's the impact in it. So can you kind of talk about that?
I think that you've hit the nail on the head, and I think it's hard to quantify value if you've not experienced it before. So it's like, and also I got to bear in mind, a lot of the businesses I was working with were bootstrapped. So when somebody's giving you £500 to run ads, that's probably the only £500 they have that they can really invest in the business. Whereas I find when I'm working with enterprise clients, like, they'll pay you whatever, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Because for them, they see the value, because they're like, I'd rather pay you 5-10 grand to do this, solve this problem for me, because for them, it's like, you're actually bringing value resource that I don't have internally. I think it's partly that. It's the fact that we have a scarcity mindset, but then we also simultaneously have these ambitions that we want to build 6 to 7 figure businesses, but you're not going to build 6 7 figure businesses putting 5 bills in. So there's a bit of a learning that needs to happen. I think for me, what I've done, so we've got to a stage now where we only work with 7 to 8 figure brands really when it comes to, which means most people in our community can't work with us. But what I've done is I've trained, obviously, you know, there's a few young people within our community who have trained how to run ads. So when a brand comes to me and they're like, okay, this is our budget, I'm able to say, okay, I can reduce it. I won't run it, but this person, I've trained them. They know the Translate Culture way of running it. So we still are providing value to our community in that sense. But I feel like it's a tough one, bro, if I'm honest. I feel like until you see it, you're not going to know. And I feel like I go back to the point about Yao wanting to increase my fees because we made millions together. And I sometimes it can't sit well in your spirit. If a man's made you millions, you're going to sit there and still try to pay him. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But I would argue not everybody thinks like that, because there have been businesses we made hundreds of thousands, but they're still trying to. So it's more sometimes depends on the individual. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So yeah.
But I think also in regards to like the ads, like I think when I look at there are certain brands that will do ads that they're not looking for. It's not even a return. They understand that. I might do this campaign, like you said, £500. You might say, oh, if I do £500, I need to make X amount in sales. But you might not hit that target. But the awareness of the fact that people now know, if I need something, I can come to you. And so I use myself as an example. Like me doing all this stuff on social media for free and just keep doing it for years and years and years, it's now got to the point where people are telling me, I've been watching you for the last 3-4 years, I need a financial advisor.
There you go.
If I only said, I'll put out content and then no one asks for a financial advisor, I'm going to stop. It takes time for people to buy into. So sometimes I think the problem is that, again, because we are bootstrapped and because we're not getting funding and we don't have the time to wait, we need to do an ad, and that needs to make us a return right now. But that's not actually how it works. No. When you think about television, most of us, when we watch TV, when the ads come on, you either go on your phone or you go toilet or you do something else. You're not watching the ads.
100%.
But people are paying to be on your television during the break. Because they understand that there will be some people that will catch you. And even if they don't buy from you, it's now awareness. I know you exist.
Exactly.
So if now I have an opportunity to say, I need to buy something and your brand comes up, I've seen you on the TV or I've seen your business before, so I now have trust. But I think one of the problems with our community is we're underfunded. So we don't have time to build the trust of our audience. We need them to buy from us straight away. 100%. And that's just not how it typically normally works.
Yeah, I agree. And you've hit the nail on the head. And I think there's a saying that people need to see you 7 times before they even convert. I think the interesting thing about Facebook ads is, I mean, it's the most powerful advertising platform. Like, they know so much about you. When we're running ads, we're targeting somebody who's actually in the market. So the platform knows, look, my man's looking for this, so I'm going to show him the ads, which is crazy. So that's where I feel sometimes people feel the need that I need to get that return quickly. And I'll be honest, look, 2020 is what they call a black swan. Like it's one of those things that happen once in a while, and you know, people were making serious amount of money and whatever. So the expectation for a lot of brands was like, well, I want you to do what you did with that brand.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, we've continued to do it with various different brands. But one thing that I'm super keen on, and you know, love being on platforms like this, is also I feel we need to educate our community around some of the businesses that we build. So for example, when you guys came to the event, you know, we had a competition build to sell with Timo where we gave a check to pet business. Yeah. What's fascinating is we got loads of people applied. Majority of them were in the same market. It was like hair care, skincare, like the typical brands that we kind of go into. And when I announced that they had won, everybody was shocked because pet, like, we don't consider that in our community. But what those guys did is they looked at a demand and they solved it. And you got to realize, somebody who's got a pet as well, it resonated. And I know how much money we spend on our pet. British people love their pets. You know what I'm trying to say? So what I would love to encourage for many of us is to start looking at solving bigger problems. Because if we're all doing hair care and skincare, we're all competing against each other in already a small market. So that's something I'm like super encouraging, and it makes my job easier because it means now I could target different demographics and stuff like that. So you
spoke about education, so I kind of want you to go into kind of like speaking about marketing as a whole, and I'm going to help you answer the question to get what I mean, but I'll give some examples as well. Like sometimes someone will message me and be like, yo, Tayo, do you have an Airbnb in Wimbledon? Like my auntie's coming and she's staying for 3 days, innit? And like sometimes I just think that, granted, there's a chance I may have one there. If I do have one there, it's going to be one of 400 properties on the market in Wimbledon at a time. Like I use Airbnb to market my property because they market it to thousands of people. You're coming the other way around, and I feel like you should really be going to Airbnb and using that marketplace. Unless you want me to do you half price. And that's basically what I feel. Do you want me to make it half price for you, basically?
I get this. What you say is so, it triggers me because people will message me like, Eman, what's the best ISA rate? I'm like, the same message the time you took that, you could have asked Google or you would have get it. Am I supposed to know every bank when they change it, and every single day it's changing? Like, we're just not in it.
And it just makes me feel like, do people understand the market? I'll give another example to kind of think, get what I'm speaking about as well. It's like when someone says that, like, if someone's launched a business, let's just say it's a phone case business, and they're like to you, ask your next door neighbor if they need a phone case. And it's kind of like, you don't understand how a market, your business isn't sustainable on word of mouth.
No.
Like, you need to find a way to get in front of people that need your service or product, basically. 100%. So there's something that you say, which I want you to touch on for our audience. You're always talking about taking luck out of the equation, right? So can you kind of break down what that philosophy is and how people can really understand how a market and marketing works, basically?
Yeah. So yeah, the whole concept of taking luck out of the equation is actually what you said there, is like, you've got to experiment on scale.
Yes.
So when you give me £500 and I run an ad for you, you're going to reach hundreds of thousands of people. But the good thing about these ad platforms, you get feedback. So you can look at things, okay, I did these 5 ads. This one, most people watch halfway through. This one, nobody clicked, whatever, right? So you're kind of systematically starting to figure out what is working, right? And each time, you're taking luck out of the equation. So now you've identified what creative works out of the 5. Okay, cool, that messaging works. Then we send them to a landing page. That landing page had a high bounce rate, which means a lot of people didn't really click through. So you're optimizing your offer along the way. And I always say that's the unfair advantage that a lot of businesses have, because when you experiment a lot, like to the point you made, if that person went and asked you for, tell your next door neighbor about the phone case, do you know how much time it's going to take for them to reach 10,000 people to even know if the phone case is even something that people want?
What?
Right?
But that's the problem. We just assume people, because we want it, we just assume people want it.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example. Like so we're actually doing a session in September, which is to teach people how to run ads. I fundamentally believe, especially in our community, everyone needs to know how to run ads on a basic level.
Yeah.
See, that £500, I would much rather have you spend that £500, figure out that you've got a £1 million business, and then come to translate. Right? But one key part of it is also just the platform is so powerful, it can actually validate a business for you. So I'll give you an example. There's a young lady in my team. She's got a business idea. she wants to create a supplement product in the sleep niche because people are struggling with sleep.
Yeah.
So what she did is she just put £200 on Facebook, and the creative only said, "Do you struggle with sleep?" That was it. So when you scroll on the thing, you just see this poster that says, "Are you struggling with sleep?" And most people, the answer is yes. If it's yes, you click. You go to this landing page, then it tells you more information. You can give your email or whatever. But what's so beautiful about it, she was able to look at the age breakdown of who was clicking. And she validated a certain audience, a certain gender, and a certain age. She then went and doubled down and read everything about it, really understood that there's a particular audience that this resonates with, and she's building a whole business around that. And I feel like, to your point, it's like many of us start business because we're trying to escape, whether it's a job or financial situation. Like, we're under pressure, like many financially in our culture. So like, we see business as a way out. But I actually feel like if you're in a job, like with these kind of tools, you can be a bit more experimental. And there was a report that I think the British Bank did, which it found that most black businesses start from a hobby, one, or they want to do something that is purposeful, that helps their community. And that's what I love about our people. Most of us are trying to help our community. Yeah. But sometimes you might need to build that $1 billion business that's in an industry that no one in our community is, and then that money you can then bring back. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
so you don't have to do it. So one of the key things about taking luck out of the equation is almost assume that it sounds counterintuitive that your business is not gonna, your idea is wrong. And almost you have to validate. You know how they do in science? You have an hypothesis, and you almost have to prove. You're almost trying to prove it wrong, but because you can't prove it wrong, then it's almost true. So that's the approach that we pretty much take.
I'm just gonna say, Alfred Samba said the same thing.
Yeah.
In a recent podcast as well. Literally what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
It makes sense. I think that's super, super important. And I love the idea that you're saying that like people need to basically get their hands dirty before they come to translate culture, basically. And I think that it's something that people should be encouraged to do. Is there anywhere where people can kind of learn the basics of ads, or is there a service that you offer that teaches people the basics of ads so they can get their hands dirty in the first place?
Yes, I mean, obviously, YouTube, you can like Google how to run Facebook ads or whatever. But the program, we're doing an event on September the 17th in partnership with Lloyds Bank, actually, interestingly. And we're basically going to teach people, because one thing they identified in their research is the two key things black businesses want is how to get access to money and how to market my business. So that we'll be doing a session on that. But equally, there's just so much resource out there. But I find the best way you learn is, well, typically the way I've learned is always been based on something that I'm interested in. So like, so it could be like, you're interested in, I don't know, fashion. And maybe you just go find somebody on YouTube who shows how to run ads through fashion. Because I think when you're learning something new, you kind of want to anchor it with something that you have some element of interest in.
Yeah, of course.
But YouTube and all those kind of platforms. But we also do some sessions here and there. But I just think fundamentally every single person in our culture should understand. And the good thing is when you understand how to run ads, then the agencies can't bamboozle you. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you can ask them the right questions. So so that's one of the things that I would advise most people to do.
What do you think the hurdle is? Why do you think, like, because we look as like success leaves clues, right? So all the successful businesses we know all market, all run ads, all are promoting themselves. Why do you think we start a business and then we're using our WhatsApp status as our marketing tool? What is it? And word of mouth, and like what do you think is the hurdle?
I actually think part of it is there's a fear of failure and the fear of the unknown, because it's almost, if I ask Tayo to tell his next door neighbor, I can somewhat hold you accountable as well. You're now part of the
marketing chain.
Yeah.
Employee basically.
Yeah, because a lot of people blame their friends, right?
Yeah.
My friends didn't buy it, they didn't support me.
Yeah. None of my friends have booked me, or none of my friends have told their friends.
A lot of people say that,
They posted man's business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to
say?
say?
You don't need them to, because you can run an ad.
You could run ads and validate it. And I think, look, I've been there, and I feel like it's tough when you got that business idea, like, this is it. This is the one that's going to take me out of the hood. And then you go to market and it doesn't work. And for me, I just had to build that tough skin. It was actually a book I read. There's a book I read when I was in uni. It was called Freakonomics. And it talked about certain things that happened. So I was studying economics in sixth form. So I was huge into economics. But the book was basically saying, look, there's a lot of things that people claim, but isn't actually, the reason it happened isn't necessarily what they think. So quick one was, I think was it Bill Clinton, one of the American presidents, was tough on crime. But then all of a sudden, because he was tough on crime, he noticed very quickly crime had stopped. Like it had not stopped, but it had dipped. Obviously, economists and politicians, yeah, he's tough on crime, works, right? But actually what we realized 20 years ago, what happened was another president allowed abortion. Now, obviously, I, as a Christian, I don't necessarily agree with that. But what happened within that thing, it gave women who in the 70s who didn't want to have children, bring children into a world when, so like, you know, people that could have been molested, all that kind of stuff. So prior to abortion being an option, they had to bring children into a world when they're already poor. So bringing in unplanned children into a already poor environment creates more crime. But it took 20 years for that to have an impact on crime because there was less children being brought into the world in a poor environment, right? So whether you agree with a thing or not, but Bill Clinton and his thing would have said, oh, we brought in a law last week that brought crime down.
Yeah.
So what that showed me is that sometimes as humans, you have an attribution problem. So you might see a success, but you don't actually know if that action you did is the reason. So that's why I went into ads, because it's almost a situation of like, it was one of the few things where I could put a pound in and I see 10 pounds come out the other side and I can clearly, do you know what I mean?
You can see it.
You could see it, you know what I'm trying to say? So for me, and also bear in mind, before Translate Culture, I failed in many business ideas because I was emotional. There were ideas that I wanted to do. I always succeeded when I was helping my friends with their business because I'm not emotional to it, right? I'm almost kind of going through that experimental thing. So that book changed my mind. Is like, things aren't always what you think it is. But that tool, when I saw Facebook ads and digital marketing, I was like, this is one of the few things in the world that you punch here and something comes up and you can clearly see the correlation.
You see the ads that Facebook let you do, so like, or Meta let you do when you're on, are they any good? Like, or are they robbing you? Because all of it, you know, they'll say, oh, boost this, it's done really well, boost it, and then you might pay. Like, is that a good ad for a business to do, or should you be trying to do something more bespoke?
Yeah, I wouldn't do those if I'm honest. Yeah. So it really depends on what your goal. To your point though, it's like if you're trying to reach more people, then it might be. It's like, okay, this is resonating with my audience, let more people see it. So if you're playing that long-term game, it makes total sense. I do think though, if you want to run ads, you have to do it on the back end. You have to do it properly. Also, you need to know what objective you've got. So the beautiful thing is about ads is you got what they call a funnel. Some of it just awareness. Everybody just sees me, whatever. Then you move down to consideration, where it's like, actually, I'm going to drive traffic to a website. Then you move down to conversion, where people actually click and go buy. So I feel like I would always advise people to do it that way, because then you can have a lot more control in terms of the objective. But yeah, those things, I think, if you're playing the long-term game, it's £5, boost it, whatever, that's fine. But if you're really trying to get results, best to just log into the back end and do it properly.
Yeah, and I think that what you said is quite key when you spoke about the objective in it. Because, look, there's a time where I've done the boost ads early doors. When my idea, or our idea, Antoinette and I's idea of the first year of Bricks with Tips is more followers, right? You start getting some followers, like more followers. They're saying, boost this to increase your followers, innit? So you boost it, innit? But I think that like the objective term we use is key, because at that point in time, what does more followers actually mean? If I want more followers to potentially convert to customers, I wasn't thinking about that.
Exactly.
Do I want more followers to potentially entice brands to book us? I didn't have any clear data that that's what brands 100%. Wanted. Or do you know what I'm trying to say? So sometimes I feel like it's really, really good to assess what your objective is, so you could be meticulous and you could be intentional. 100%. Is potentially the term that I'm looking for.
And the thing I say, look, I tell you the other day, 1/3 of the world spend at least one day on Instagram or Facebook, right? So
one day in a year, or
they're on it every day.
Okay,
So we're on Facebook every day. So 1/3 of the world is on that platform every single day. There's no other platform that understands humans better than that platform, right? So whatever objective you got, it will deliver. But to that point, the objective of business is to make sales. So it's all about, like, I would always advise people, if you can, forget the vanity metrics of followers or whatever. Just go in there and say, look, my objective is to get leads. Even leads, just get emails. Like, get people's emails to figure out if they're even interested.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start. And then you take them off Facebook and now you can email them, and it's going to cost you way less than if you're trying to keep running ads. So, but I think objective is always a challenge. But it goes back to that point. I think a lot of us are afraid of failure. So we choose the thing that is most comfortable. It's easy for me just to ask Eman to repost for me than it is to actually, you know what? If I really believe in it, that £5 that I would have spent on buying some trainers, let me put it into my business and fail. You could, and only you will know if you fail or not. But I never consider failing because it's learning. Now you know that didn't work, and you've also developed a skill. Worst case, you can start running ads for other businesses. You know what I'm trying to say? So I fundamentally believe like we just need to try more. Yeah.
I want to give a scenario, right? This might help people listening as well. So, hypothetical scenario: there's a fashion brand that's doing well organically. Everything is organic at this point. Still in the launch phases, got a few lines, so on and so forth. They're also considering scaling internationally. There's a proof of concept because even through the organic on their current pages, there have been some sales made internationally. What would you say, like, with a budget of £1,000, should be their first step into effectively trying to take luck out of the equation? And I'll just break it down for the people that are listening as well, because at this point, they're selling 10 items in July and 25 items in August, 5 items in September. They do not know why. The numbers are different each month, basically. So what's like some advice you can give to take luck out of the equation?
Yeah, so fashion is quite interesting because one, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
But the good thing about fashion is we need clothes.
Yeah.
So there's a big market. So there's something we call TAM, which is a total addressable market. So clothes is something that we all need. So I would typically take the approach of like, okay, cool. What customers do we already have? So let's say within that 5, 10, 20 orders over the years, they've generated 1,000 customers.
Yeah.
So you've already got people's emails, right? You can also then look at, okay, cool. What is the best selling product at any given season? So let's say we're going into Black Friday in November. What I would do is I'll take the email list of everybody that's bought from us. You can actually put it in the back end of Facebook and say, go look for people similar to this. Or you could even retarget those people on your mailing list. So I would do one list, which is the mailing list that I've actually purchased. I'll call those hot leads, customers. I would also take followers, your follower audience. You can build that as an audience. And I'll do lookalikes of them, which essentially I'm telling Facebook, you see these people, these 1,000 people, go find me people that are similar to them. Then I'll pick the best 3 best sellers in the season that we're about to go into. So we're about to go into winter. Okay, cool. Jackets. What's the best jackets? Okay, we see blue jackets sell really well. We've got a new one. Run those ads against that. So what you're essentially doing, you're taking luck out of the equation because you're taking an audience that's already purchased from you. You're telling the algorithm to go find people that are similar to them. You're taking products that you already know sold. You're putting in front of those 2 people. And the likelihood of success is going to be higher than you just to scattergun it and put stuff that nobody might buy.
Listen, for anybody that's in that kind of game, that is free game. That's game you can pay for. And I guess how it translates, like, in reality is that the lookalike audience could be someone who, you know, I've seen this brand on my stories bare times, like, and they're finally getting the ad where they can purchase. It's like, okay, cool. Now, at this point in time, because it's in my face, I'm going to purchase it, basically. I haven't had the time to look for it other times, but now it's been put directly to me, basically.
Yeah, there you go. And it's crazy. And the algorithm is crazy. Bro, I get certain clothes shown to me and the likelihood of me buying it is high because what typically happens, also you got to realize everything we're posting, the algorithm is and the AI is reading it. Like I scroll through and because I wear certain colors, they're my favorite. And I always show my missus, look, these lot are targeting me. Like the algorithm is that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen ads, right? You're like, when people say, oh, they were listening to you. That one, possibly, because obviously they go,
well, they are, bro. They're
definitely keywords.
They're definitely keywords, yeah. But yeah, it's so with those 2 approaches, like you're guaranteed to make a few sales almost pretty much.
Do you ever buy straight off an Instagram ad or a TikTok ad or XYZ?
Not me. My wife does though.
Yeah.
My wife, that TikTok shop, she's got in a chokehold. Like,
bro, I'm telling you.
Like now she has to sign stuff off before she might have to check because it's crazy because it's people selling to people.
Yeah.
Like selling other things that everyday people use to people on social media.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And it's the future.
100%.
So I'm sure places like Amazon and are thinking, okay, we need to think about this because this is the next thing. Just how we've now hijacked the high street and put it on here, with these guys hijacking our customers, and because they're spending more time on social media than they're going to be on Amazon. So now we need to kind of progress. So yeah, it's amazing.
Different. That's a game. TikTok shop is a game changer. That's if you want to get into e-commerce, that's the biggest opportunity right now.
Yeah. It's funny, I said that earlier today. Like, if I was someone who wanted to make content and I just like started again completely, TikTok shop could be a peak way to do it. Like,
Yeah,
do you get what I'm
100.
trying to say?
Yeah.
But for content creators and businesses as well. I always say for myself here, when it comes to stuff like that, like seeing an ad, for me, one thing for me, and I guess it's unique to everybody, is ease of purchase.
Yes.
Like, quite often than not, if it's not got Apple Pay,
Yeah.
I can't just double
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Because you want me to go Square.
Unless I have to, me going to get my card, I forgot. I don't want it
The
anymore.
only one I get my card for is parking fine, because I know they're gonna up it.
No, come on, parking fine. That's
They're
my
gonna
own fault.
up it. They're gonna up it if I don't get my card right
Exactly.
now, and I'm gonna forget.
Come
But
on.
everything else, I'll buy it because it's in front of me right
100%.
now. Apple Pay has to be present.
It has to be. I have to be able to do it, and these are the things that are so important. Talk to us about some of the brands that you've helped, how you've helped them. How do brands? What type of brand should be approaching you? Where should they be at? And what can you do to help them?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, a number of the brands that we work with were in e-commerce, like Everstar, Plant Made. And I guess at that point, we were just mainly doing like Facebook and Google ads for them. So essentially what will happen is they'll have a target. They say, look, we want to hit this many figures. Here's the budget. We'll go in the back of Facebook. We'll do the ads and scale it that way. So that's a service that we still provide. But more recently, we've been doing more what you call top of funnel marketing as well, like not just conversions. So we did the marketing for the Unity Cup, which was the football tournament.
Oh, sick.
So we did that, and that was fascinating. You know what? That was powerful for me because it was like I also wanted to. The reason I got involved with it, I wanted to show that our community can come together in a big event like that, and there's no trouble. And one thing I've always been conscious of is that when it comes to Black culture, a lot of brands only target the youth. Like Black culture and youth culture seems to be like intertwined, but nobody looks at people like us. But we're the ones with the disposable income, right? But the people that filled out the stadium were people like me and you. It was a family event, right?
Yeah.
So that was really powerful for me. So now we're getting into sports a bit more, like sports marketing. I think sports needs an element of culture and stuff like that. But overall, so digital marketing, any brand that kind of wants to, grow to 7 to 8 figures, we can support them either through direct culture where we do the education, or translate culture where we actually do the execution.
Yeah, bro. And look, the work that you do is amazing. I'm a client
bro.
of yours, and I think that it's so sick, as we mentioned in the beginning, to have you in the community as an expert and teaching people and helping people grow their businesses as well. So, bro, one thing we always ask people on the podcast is just let them know a bit about the juicy wins in your journey, and some of the L's as well, so people can see the ups and downs.
I was thinking about this actually earlier, and first of all, before I answer, I want to shout out both of you because something that you guys do, I love the way you are on your journey with your wives.
Yeah, thank
you. And I think I was just speaking to Mr. Moneyjar, and he said, I don't know if he sent you this message, he sent me this a couple of years ago. He said, just doing what we're doing, we're enough. Just to be seen, to be building with our wives is key. Which leads me to my biggest L and my biggest W. So my wife and I were going to get married in 2014. We had saved up money for our wedding, and an opportunity came for her to be on the Ideal Home Show.
Okay.
And we loved the Ideal Home Show. So it was like, and she had a homeware brand. Yeah. So she asked me, should we do it? I was gassed. I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it. So we're like, where are we going to get the money? Well, our wedding money, let's take some from there, pattern it. I'm sure we'll make loads of money back, and then whatever. Did the event, total flop. And at that moment, it caused a lot of friction in our relationship. But what it did, it showed me that I had money, I had anxieties around poverty, which was not justifiable. So it led me and my wife to go through marriage counseling before we were going to get married. Because typically what we were going to do was going to do like the church marriage counseling, which it's great because it's obviously under the covenant of God, but you can't go deep with your pastor on certain things. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you have to go to a professional, and it showed me so much about myself in terms of certain anxieties I had or whatever. So that was, at that moment, felt like an L, because it was probably the toughest part of our relationship. But now we know, like, if things are peak, like if it ever gets that peak, we can go to counseling or whatever. So that's a lesson. But what's so beautiful about that moment is how God works. Someone took my wife's business card. 3 years later, the British Library was doing an exhibition on West African culture, and they were looking for somebody who can make African print homeware. She's a one of one. There's only one person at that time that was still doing it. The person kept that business card for 3 years.
Insane.
Yeah. And my wife got the biggest order that she'd ever got at that moment. And it validated so much for us because one, it showed when she sold out, like within a week, like people from all cultures were buying her stuff. It validated two things. It validated to my wife that actually your African print stuff isn't just for African consumers. Like people who want to tap into African culture will buy it.
Yeah.
And that was the moment when I started really helping my wife with marketing and started documenting that journey. And off that blog, the thing happened with the Evening Standard, right? So my biggest L became my biggest win. And one of the key things I always remember when people ask me, how do you start? And I tell the story of, I learned digital marketing like deeply in e-com by helping my wife build her brand. That's always the thing that people remember.
Yeah.
It's that you've done it at home, so I trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So those are two of my biggest, and that's why I started with the prefix of what you guys are doing. And I'm sure there's a few stories you've shared recently. Like, I love it, and I think we need to be sharing those stories because marriage is hard.
Yeah.
But it's one of the few things that we say in the Bible that is forever.
Yeah.
Everything else, you're meant to leave your parents' home. You're meant to, but marriage, you're meant once you. So yeah, I would say my biggest L's and W's have come from that.
It's crazy you said that because one of the things that Alfred said was one of his biggest mistakes was trying to fix things outside before fixing what's at home.
Yeah.
And it's like when he then decided to fix things at home, he was then able to learn from that to be able to then fix things for his family and friends, then fix things for the local community, and then fix things for bigger brands, for the world.
100%.
And so it's exactly what you said. Like actually, by doing it at home in a safe space where you can make mistakes, you can if it doesn't work out, you've got your boss is your wife is okay. She understands that you're trying. Do you know what I mean? So you can make those mistakes and do that. And now look, it led to where we're at. But like you said, you invest in and that's the thing again that we said in Alpha's one. Sometimes when we're investing, we want an immediate return. But actually, if you never went to that show, never got that card, never would have went away, never would have had that order, then had the thing happen, then say, oh, I can do this for other businesses. Look at where you are today. So actually, sometimes you got to take the risk. And because you took the risk, like, that's how we call it L's, lessons learned. They're not always losses. Like, you've learned a lesson that you can take on, but then also look what's come back because you took that risk.
100%.
Facts. Bro, we've loved having you on.
Likewise, man.
We know that the people them are going to learn a lot from you and have some game and kind of potentially be clients as well, because I guess marketing is the machine to get your business idea off the ground, and it's a needed episode because we speak about business a lot, but business without marketing is just an idea or it was just something that you're doing at home.
Really, you're
playing around, didn't it? You got what I'm trying to say. So Mas, let the people know where they can find you.
So on Instagram, Masibu _Manima. Obviously translate culture and direct culture on Instagram as well. LinkedIn as well, Masibu Manima, and website translateculture.co. So those are the places to find me.
You've come a long way because his personal Instagram used to be on low key. Now you're doing personal branding. I see you, brother.
We love that.
I see you, brother. Big up, guys. Thank you for joining us on the Bread and Butter podcast. Mass's details are going to be in the details below, but let us know what gems you've enjoyed. Let us know what was really brought to light for you in this episode in the comments. And
we'll see you on the next one.
Peace, guys.
Blessings.